Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you so much for tuning in on this emergency broadcast. We are in an undisclosed location. We are in the bunker. We are hiding away. We're live, though. I'm glad to be live. You see, we got the old Russian equipment here as I'm hiding away here in an undisclosed location, folks. But the Anchor Baby's okay. I'm okay for now. And I'm live for now. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm going to keep my head up. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing too great in life that we that we don't already have the tools to handle, folks, okay? But it's a pleasure to be here. An absolute pleasure. It's still a fine Wednesday. It's still a fine Tuesday. It's, in fact, a beautiful Tuesday, even in the bunker. Even in the bunker. Running away from ICE, dodging La Migra, underground. It's still a beautiful and absolutely it's an absolute pleasure to be here on this fine Tuesday. It is still a fine Tuesday. Some of you don't even believe me. So I can see you now. Some of you don't even believe me. How can you be okay? How can it be a fine Tuesday? You're surrounded by concrete. But don't you see I have a little window? Nothing is that bad in life, okay? So don't worry. In the bunker, in America, or otherwise, I'll be live as best I can, okay? And we're messing around, but thanks everybody for tuning in. I am the American Anchor Baby, and it is a pleasure to have you. You can call me if you have something on your mind. You want to talk to the Anchor Baby here. 888-775-3773. It's Trump Central. What's he doing? Updates on stuff we've talked about. Plenty to get into. Plenty to talk about. Is that a poster of Stalin on the wall? You know what? I don't know. I just kind of came in here, and I think I just repurposed this little bunker. I think maybe some communists were in here. So fitting. The guerrilla radio. Although I don't agree with the communists who may have had this room before me. They left some gear so that I could still be live broadcasting on the radio waves. I don't know who that is. But it looks Russian. Is it Ukrainian or Russian? Diverting attention away from the Stalin poster. But what can I say? We're in the bunker. I'm live. We're doing some housekeeping, keeping the bunker at least clean here. 888-775-3773. I'm live on YouTube. So what's up, YouTube? Pleasure to have you here. Hit the like on your way in. Don't be rude. How you doing? rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. DLive.tv. What's up, DLive? The background looks good on there. On DLive.tv/Gorgonzola. Incredible. And one last place, folks, don't forget PUNCHIE.tv/Anchor Baby. That's punchy.tv/Anchor Baby. A little place to watch, okay? What else? It's a pleasure to have you here. Let's get into some stuff. I got news. I got stuff. Oh my God, the show started and I didn't see it. I had to reload. Reload, refresh, do what you got to do. But you're right. Everybody's talking about it. Anchor baby might need bail. Nick in the bunker hiding out. I'm in an undisclosed location where it's you're seeing the news. You're seeing the headlines. Chicago hub awaits a ghost town as places brace for ICE raids. ICE raids. Different places around the country are bracing for ICE raids. La MIGRA. Immigration. Federale, Policía Federal. I feel like that's scarier, like a big knock, and they're like speaking a different language. Policía Federal Internacional. Like, oh crap, I really messed up. Oops. Look, what's up, Skip, Log, Flat Earth, Victory, Matthew, Albert, Chris. Welcome everybody. Point Fire. We got Canada in the chat. And we are in the bunker. Because you heard some of the news. Big executive orders. Dictator Trump. They're calling him a dictator. They're calling him everything. He said he was going to be a dictator first day. He told you. He may be dictator for more than one day. And I hope he is. You know, Trump's style of dictatorship. Whatever that is. It's fine with it's not dictatorship, you know, it's a joke. But look at him do it. Look at him do it. Gaze, look. Take a gander. And behold Trump sign it, the paper, and begin the actions to end birthright citizenship. Yes, that's it. I and those generations after me, a couple of them, are possibly the last anchor babies ever. Is it true? Is it over?
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the course? That one is likely to be challenged.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out.
They're expressing, those watching are expressing their concerns over and predictions over the legal battles that will come about because of this. And they've already started. I want to get into that. But many agree that it's not going to be an easy thing to make happen. And it's like Trump, Nick, the guy I've been backing, the guy that made me think about God. I didn't really think about God before until I saw evil incarnate. What else could it have been? Come down on someone just trying to do the right thing. That same guy, look at him. He's signing it. He's saying, oh, it's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, we got to stop this. Oh, yes.
That one is
it's a good one.
Could be.
He's talking about me. It's a good one. I love this. This is no problem. I have no problem with this at all.
In the world.
Listen to him talk. Listen to him.
I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous.
The last of the Mohicans. The last of the ankle babies.
We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, we'll see. We have very good grounds.
Sir,
people have wanted to do this for decades.
Sir, this is a proclamation declaring a national emergency.
National emergency. That was right after. But there it is. The signing away, the last of the Mohicans, the generation. And I'm here hiding in a bunker. They're going to get rid of us, man. Which is so ridiculous. You know, I'm just making jokes. Like, that's nowhere near as radical as even I've called for things to be with the removal of even citizens. Possibly, you know, I'm crazy, right? That's why I'm not president. So let the people like Trump handle things in the right sequence, in the right way, putting things on the right path. Don't you see there's a pathway to things? Don't get ahead of yourselves. Notice the pathway. See the possibilities. Don't freak out like this has to happen now or it's war. So Trump signs the executive order ending birthright citizenship. Trump and it goes as follows: denying the citizenship to children whose mothers were unlawfully present in the United States when they were born, and the father wasn't a citizen or legal permanent resident. Oh, I'm reading that for the second time, realizing the anchor baby. I don't know how far back this goes, but I'm only anchor baby by way of my mother. You know how you can, you know how, I don't know if that's exactly how it works, but you know, like being two races. But by way of my mother, right, my father, who may have been an anchor baby himself, I don't know, was a citizen. So I'm only half anchor baby by way of my mother. And so they're doing this. She got pregnant over the border, like Jesse says. No more. No más. No más. Amazing. I really have no problem with this. And right away, they were sued by the ACLU and a coalition of 18 different states along with D.C. So already the legal troubles are starting. They're saying this is unconstitutional. They're saying all sorts of things. But you got the ACLU, the Civil Liberties Union, which is, if you know, civil liberties, when you have to classify it like that, human rights, civil liberties, the women's rights, you have usually none of that. And so that's what's going on with the ACLU. And then you got 18 states. They got altogether Democratic states. Do we need to know who they were? Which states? Name them. And D.C., Democratic state-led states, they got together and they put forth a challenge to this executive order on the grounds that it's unconstitutional. Amazing. But I want to get into some of these details. I think you're going to find this interesting because in their very disagreement with birthright citizenship, they reveal and betray any standing they have. And I want to explain how I see this. And it's so clear. And I see calls coming in. Thank you so much. 888-775-3773. And just be a little patient. I'll get to you. I was just waiting to see if he got on hold so I could tell him to be a little patient. We'll get to calls here, 888-775-3773. So here's how it goes. Get this. Who's the one who's got the 18 states and is leading the 18 states and D.C. and is putting forth and representing the case for challenging Donald Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship? It's none of. Look at this. Look at this person coming out of the darkness. Look at her out of the darkness, out of the crevices of America. Where did she run off to? She's back. We're talking about Letitia James. Attorney General James challenges unconstitutional executive order on birthright citizenship. She's not letting this go without a fight. And it's pretty silly. But it's actually quite interesting when you get into the nitty-gritties of what they're fighting here. And she totally bungles it. I have to say, I'm no lawyer. And I see you waiting. Thank you so much. Holding 888-775. I'll get to you. 3773. She totally betrays it. She totally bungles it. And a lawyer can maybe call me, tell me where I'm wrong. But check this out. She kicks it off here. She's like, the great promise of our nation in her challenge to this executive order. Letitia James puts it forth like this. The great promise of our nation is that everyone born here is a citizen of the United States. The great promise of our nation. Remember what we'll read here, as these promises are all self-referential in that they refer to this misunderstanding of the law as proof of this. That everyone born here is a citizen of the United States wasn't always like that. We'll get into the details. Able to achieve the American dream, She says this fundamental right to birthright citizenship is rooted in the 14th Amendment and born from the ashes of slavery. It's a cornerstone of our nation's commitment to justice. Our Constitution is not open to reinterpretation by executive order or presidential decree. So, President Trump's attempt to undermine the fundamental right to birthright citizenship is not just unconstitutional, it is profoundly dangerous. But she betrays the whole thing by, take this in, for example, starting off, that it is unconstitutional. But what made this constitutional was an amendment itself. It betrays this whole idea that this Constitution is not open to reinterpretation. I know she is stressing that it's by executive order, but it was the 14th Amendment that made this constitutional in the first place, or that you could argue that it is. You understand? So in that same way, you could argue that it's not, if the Constitution is being misinterpreted. And she betrays any standing they have by invoking slavery. You got to take this in. She says the 14th Amendment, she says that the fundamental right to birthright citizenship, more on the fundamental right later, is rooted in the 14th Amendment and born from the ashes of slavery. Her invoking slavery here completely, in my opinion, any foothold she had, any basis she had in defending the continuation of birthright citizenship for illegals today is gone by invoking slavery. You know, back in the day, 1857, okay? What happened in 1857 is you had a whole bunch of crazy American racists. They called them the Supreme Court back then, you know. But obviously they were just crazy racists. There's no basis and logic to the laws they were making, or reasoning or understanding, right? They're just crazy American racists. As a side note, I can't help but even preach on this a little more. It's weird how people see people in the past that way, in this simplistic way. Like, okay, just one day, a whole bunch of people just went nuts and they just started hating and wanted to kill people. It's like that's kind of true, but there's more. And it's like, so, okay, 1857, the Supreme Court, just a bunch of racists, decided that blacks couldn't be citizens, okay? It had to do with this, it's called it was a case, okay? You know how these Supreme Court cases have precedent on how the law is interpreted. You understand this, right? And what happened was there was this case, it was Dred Scott versus Stanford. Dred Scott versus Stanford. It was a decision delivered by the U.S. Supreme Court, 1857, and it had to do with an enslaved. It was a slave. His name was Dred Scott. He sued for his freedom, arguing. If you look into Dred Scott, it's interesting. It kind of lays out a little better the gray areas and the strange relationship and evolving relationship that Americans and slaves had, and with the Constitution and the law and what it meant to be free, enslaved. You had states that were free states. They prohibited slavery, and you had other states that were fine with it. And even in those that were fine with it, it was not that many slave owners. That being said, whatever you think about slavery, this man sued for his freedom, Dred Scott. And there was... You can, if you're interested in the arguments for it, the point was this turned out pretty bad for whatever they were fighting for. The court ruled that blacks, whether enslaved or free, could not be citizens of the United States. So they had no right to sue in federal court and stuff like that. Okay? So then they had a big old civil war. Okay, you know, we could do more history if you like, but let me summarize a little bit so I can get to calls and stuff. The 14th Amendment comes around. The 14th Amendment was specifically, and you can look at constitutional scholars, Constitution Center, don't get mad at me, they're saying this, Dred Scott, the 14th Amendment was a direct response and directly overturned Dred Scott versus Stanford. To understand the significance of what I'm stressing here is that Letitia James, by invoking slavery, proves that you cannot, that today's interpretation of the 14th Amendment is in fact a misunderstanding, a misinterpretation. Because like she said, this was about the slaves and slavery. So when you look into it, the 14th Amendment was simply to overturn Dred v. Scott, to allow those black former slaves to become citizens. You understand this? Okay, so that's that on the misuse of this. And to me, their challenge is proof of what's wrong with this. What else about this? You know, to kind of like further, like just drive this home, what I get about this, what I can see about this thing with the birthright and all this. Take in, for example, Anthony Romero, ACLU lawyer. This is the other front. There's, I think, a third front opening up against this birthright citizenship fight. Anthony Romero, Puerto Rican guy, and he's also challenging this alongside others. Denying citizenship to U.S.-born children is not only unconstitutional, he says, it's also a reckless and ruthless repudiation of American values. I hope you see now I hope you now see the misunderstanding and then the campaign to warp and conflate these concepts like having the right to have your American dream and what process an immigrant is using to not only enter the country but become a citizen. It's like you understand that without birthright citizenship, there is a pathway for someone to become a citizen. That still exists. It's difficult. It's long. You got to prove that you really mean it and you want to be part of America, even today, to some degree. But it's like that's a cherry on top. You should be so lucky. You understand? Not to not believe that, it means that you're implying that everybody deserves to be here. And that's something so wrong, and you start understanding why people want to start closing up the border and all that. It's like these horrific, greedy people are making me rethink this, you know? So he's saying that this is denying citizenship to you. It's unconstitutional. Well, it's only, again, this lawyer, it's like these lawyers. If anything, the Dred Scott thing, it's so interesting. The Dred Scott case with the U.S. Supreme Court, it shows that America they weren't these crazy American racists. They had a reasoning for what they were doing. They talked about immigrants even. They mentioned how it was white people. That was at one point stipulated. And you realize that really, if anything, the Dred Scott Stanford case shows you that not everybody was this person that wanted slavery. It was an ongoing conversation. White people themselves fought for the end of this, and for anyone, a single person to have a shred of anger over anything is stupid, but over this shows that you are so blind. You don't get it. Don't you see that they were already having this fight? This fight is over. They had a civil war. This is over. And it shows how the lawyers really, if anything, Dred Scott v. Stanford is a show of how lawyers and the law was used in this communist way to force the agendas of the few, of some, when Americans were ordering themselves the way they wanted to. You understand what I'm saying? So he says it's not only unconstitutional, but again, he's referring to his own misunderstanding. And it's a reckless repudiation. It's just not it's simply not true. By removing birthright citizenship, people have been led to believe that this is a denial of this basic right, like speaking for yourself, defending yourself, being able to become president. It's like You ask your average person, they just think it's unfair that someone doesn't get to have the American dream. But you can almost understand that, and that's not something you don't even have to fight that deeply about. But their misunderstanding of birthright citizenship, that has nothing to do with someone's right to the American dream. What birthright citizenship is an open door for the entire world. And it was never meant to be that. So I think we're done with that. The fact that there's a front door, those same people denied there's a front door. There's a front door for them. So it's like your charges against America and those who support the removal of birthright citizenship as people who simply want to take away some sort of American dream from people already here, because they've been here maybe some time. They're not necessarily white. Like, that's just not what it is. It's merely logistical. It's clerical. So what else about this? There's a front door. What these things like CBP1, the CBP1 app, catch and release, refugee and immigrant programs. The way it is right now, you got to understand that the vast majority of people coming over right now would never be here. They would never be here if it wasn't for the almost chain of support that has been put out there to bring in people like this. You got to understand that most of these Mexicans, Hondurans, Guatemalans, they would just be in their town, in their place. But through the internet, through the help of Catholics, organizations, I'm thinking of other ones, a bunch of organizations, the government themselves, catch and release, you have people that would never be here. They would never be here. They're just like, I'm not even saying this like pejoratively. They're just like a Guatemalan farmer. Like, they would never have come here. That would never have been in the world of possibilities. So this whole thing is wrong. What else about this? Then we're off this. I got calls here I want to get to. It's not your freaking right. Okay. You have to prove it. You want to be part of this. There's still a front door. You're still lucky in that sense. And all that. We got more to get into here. And we got plenty of time. So let's get to Andrew, first-time caller out of Scotland. Thank you so much. Andrew, you're on the air.
Hello, can you hear me, Nick?
Yes, Andrew, coming in clear. We're in the bunker, but you're coming in clear.
Nice one. Right. I spoke to Hake yesterday, but I've never spoke to you yet.
Well, thanks for calling.
And pardon?
Thanks for your call. Go ahead.
I have got a major issue with Islam. And I now have 5 Muslim friends. And the issue I have now with Islam is quite simple. All of these Muslim friends that I've gained, right, and there's 2 women and 3 men, all of them think that I'm a Muslim. But I think that they are Christians. So how do you, I don't know if you've read the Quran and Hadith, but how are you meant to actually convince Muslims that they're actually Christian?
It sounds like you already did that. You understand? Help me understand what I'm not getting, because it sounds like you have all, in your mind, you've already convinced them to be Christian. You're saying they're already Christian? And in their mind, you're already Muslim? Help me understand this, what you're saying with that.
Well, the reason I'm calling you is because I don't understand it.
But you're saying that you're saying, I have these Muslim friends, and the problem I'm having is I think they're Christian.
Yeah.
You really think your Muslim friends are Christian?
Yes.
In what way?
Because they've got exactly the same values as I have, but they just happen to be on the wrong side of the river when it comes to who to believe in. I believe in Jesus Christ, and they believe in Muhammad.
I see, and they say the same thing about you. You have the same values or whatever. Why do you call yourself a Christian? You're a Muslim, man. You're basically a Muslim.
Exactly.
So are you basically telling me that you are you saying that Muslims and Christians have the same values? Because in your mind, they're already Christian, but they say they're Muslim. So does that mean Muslims have Christian values?
Yes.
So then what's the conflict? Just what you're calling yourself?
No, the conflict would be who to follow. Because if you follow Muhammad, you're going to follow a sex addict. But if you follow Jesus Christ...
But wait, hold up. But you said they're following... If you follow Muhammad, you're going to follow... You said a sex addict?
Yes.
And that's wrong. You're saying that's wrong. But yet somehow these wrong people following the wrong guy were able to acquire the exact same Christian values that you like.
I didn't say they were exactly the same.
Okay, so they're not Christian in your mind.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they coincide because Muhammad stole quite a lot of stuff from the New Testament and the Old Testament without even really knowing what he was talking about. So the reason why the Christian values and the Islamic values coincide is because Muhammad was lifting things from the Old Testament and the New Testament and passing them on to his followers.
So what's wrong with your friends? They're not Christian enough? They don't have enough of the... You're saying, what's wrong with your friends? They don't have enough of the Christian values? What's so wrong about them?
Well, if you follow Muhammad, that means that you're going to hell. And if you follow Jesus, that means you're going to heaven. So that's my issue.
So you're going to heaven?
No, and I'm not going to heaven. I don't know. That's unproven.
Oh, okay. But here's what I'm trying to understand, because it sounds like you and your Muslim friends share the vast majority, at least the majority of these values, enough that you call them Christian, and you don't know who's going to heaven or hell. So are we concluding? Have we used logic to basically boil it down to your understanding of heaven and hell, and the right thing amounts to what you call yourself and what words you say, like Jesus versus Muhammad? Because it sounds like your friends act pretty close to you. Is that true?
Yeah, that's 100% true. And the latest people that have now become my friends are devout Muslims, and they think that everybody who's got Christian values is actually a Muslim. They think that Jesus is a Muslim. They think that Jesus prayed to Allah, but that's not what I believe. So the only issue is who to follow. No,
that's not the only issue. And I'm asking you about, because you called me and your question was that you mentioned you had a problem. Your problem is with Islam. You and somehow you, Andrew, has a problem with Islam. Islam is able to affect Andrew and create a problem in his life. That is so interesting to me. So you called about that, and I'm asking you about the values of your friends and you, and why. Do you see how the conflict was self-created? That your friends they're not doing anything. They're just calling themselves something different, and the conflict was just in your mind. That it seems like to you that if you say this and call yourself this, you go to hell. But you can't explain to me how. You don't even know who goes to heaven or hell. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't tell me what God's thinking. So it seems to, do you see how you've created your own problem?
Yeah, I mean...
And now Islam is a problem for Andrew somehow in his life. That's crazy to me.
I mean, Nick...
And not only that, you've now confused yourself. You've added layers of confusion by trying to figure out God in Islam and who is right and who is wrong. And now it's like, who's my friend? Who's my foe? And now you can't even see straight. It's like now tomorrow I'm going to hear you saying, man, you know what? I started bowing down 5 times to Allah, They're basically the same. Let them come in. I don't know what you're going to say tomorrow. I can't tell because now you're all confused because you're trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong. What do you think about that so far?
Right, okay. Well, I mean, I agree with you on that. I've always been a confused person when it comes to good and evil and stuff like that. But one thing I do know is that we are meant to follow the truth. And Jesus Christ and his Father, God, represent the truth. And Muhammad and Allah don't seem to represent the truth.
But what truth are you talking about? You're all confused. And you agree with me you're confused. And so maybe stop talking about truth, man. You got more pressing issues, my friend. And it's not an issue. It's really not a big deal. There's only one thing going wrong, and it's you've taken your eyes off yourself. That's the only one thing going wrong. And if you may not believe me, I dare you to try it. Put your eyes back on yourself. Maybe some of these other questions might become clear.
Okay, then. Let's just clear the air entirely. Did Muhammad believe in God?
Did Muhammad believe in God?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet you he did. I can't say for certain, but I bet you everybody believes in God in some sense. Don't even devils and demons believe in God?
Right, but we're missing the point here.
No,
was Muhammad?
I'm trying to answer your question. I really am trying to answer your question. But how am I missing the point?
Right. Okay, I'm asking you a very simple question. Mm-hmm. Was Muhammad following the truth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, was he following the truth? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about Muhammad. But it seems to me, and here's you got to understand what I'm saying here. The reason I say I don't know is because I really don't know. You got to understand how important and how helpful that is. Because think about what you're saying. You're saying your conclusion is from your thoughts, something you heard. Because because Muhammad is the Islam guy, he can't know God. It's like, yeah, probably Muhammad didn't follow God either, like most people, but you don't know that for sure. Your conclusion comes from just thoughts. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I say I don't know. It's because I really don't know. Isn't that okay?
I don't have a conclusion about this. It seems to me like you seem to have a conclusion about this. So that's the reason why I called you up. What is the conclusion? Was Muhammad following the truth? Yes or no? And is Jesus the man who followed the truth? I'm asking.
What is the truth?
Well, what is the truth exactly?
Yeah, you're like following the truth. Next, you're gonna tell me Jesus is the truth.
Jesus is the truth.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that tells me that tells me nothing, man. You see what I'm saying by knowing?
Nothing.
Everybody, all sorts of people say Jesus is the truth. So anybody that says Jesus is the truth is following the truth?
Use Jesus' testimony against you. Jesus said that he was going to die on the cross, and he said he'd be resurrected.
Right.
Did he lie?
But does that mean you, Andrew, are now following the truth just because you said that? Or you tell me you believe in that?
I do believe in Jesus Christ, yes.
But so that means you following the truth. Ergo, that's simple.
No, if I knew that I was following the truth, I wouldn't be calling you up in the middle. Well, it's not the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Because the truth is not these things we learned and all that. This is just words. It has to, like, the truth orders your life. It's real. It's not confusing. And you're not running around looking at others and being confused and trying to figure out who's good and who's bad. The truth is alive. It affects your life in a positive way for real. They're not just words. And to answer your question more intellectually, because I know that's what you're asking, I don't want to be obtuse. Yeah, Muhammad is Islam. That's not Jesus. But don't you think believing in Jesus is more than just agreeing that the Bible said he died for our sins, but it's believing truly what he said. And anybody, and isn't anybody, no matter what they're called, who believes in what Jesus said and does what he said for real, which is to love your enemy, love all people, love God, wouldn't they be believing in Jesus too? Regardless of what they call themselves?
No, they would not be believing in Jesus. You're wrong.
Interesting. I don't know.
Right.
There might be some gray area there, but you leaving no leeway for that makes me, it gives me the impression that you're missing some point about what Jesus was getting at, the inside versus the outside. But anyways, I'm not saying let's all be Muslims and blah, blah, blah. Like Muslim, Christian, these are all just religions and politics of men.
Can I leave you with one last question,
Of course. I'm loving this conversation.
Me too, and thank you very much, because I need this conversation. I need to talk to people who are strangers who also believe in God. I need to talk to people, so thank you very much. But one of the last things I want to leave you with, right, is I've been arguing with these Muslims now for like 2 years, right? And to start with, I didn't really genuinely believe in Jesus at all. So I was lying to them when I started our conversations. But by the end of our conversations, I've worked out that they cannot even say the word Quran correctly when they're pushed against the wall. So, for instance, when I've pushed a few of these Muslim men against the wall, right, and they always ask me for money, they're like, do you want to give some money to the Muslim faith? And I'm like, absolutely not. I won't even give money to the Christian faith, never mind the Muslim faith. But then when I push them against a wall with the stuff of the Quran and the Hadith, do you know what starts happening with their voice? Their voice changes, right? And they go from saying Quran, like that, strong and like that, solid, and then they start going Quran. They choke on the word Quran because they don't believe in their own faith.
Do you want to know God, or do you want to spread Christianity?
Well, I already do know God.
Oh. So you already know God. You're just focused on spreading Christianity.
Yes, sir.
And what's the evidence that you know God?
The evidence that I know God is I used to absolutely despise my family because I had 3 mothers and 2 dads. And then when I stopped despising my family, I recognized what love was.
You saw you were angry and that was evil.
Yeah, I hated
That's
every
deep, man.
family.
Don't let go of that. Keep working on that. I got to say, man, my impression, just taking your call in and moving a little bit because of time, I think you've made a big mistake, and it's not that deep, okay? It's not like God not working on you anymore. Now it's not that deep what I'm saying, but at the same time, I think you've made a huge mistake in psyching yourself up intellectually by saying, even at the beginning, you said you didn't believe in Jesus, but you were able to debate and argue with people enough that it psyched you into it. You just now believe into it, and you got to understand that what you've built up is a house of lies, because it's standing on the reactions of others. When you saw those Muslims get nervous, when you saw those people do this, those thrills is what's built your belief, and so just it's not a big. I think that was a mistake, and
And here because you can't move the wheels. I've watched your show before. So are you saying that I don't believe in God? Is that what you're saying to me?
I don't know. You said you saw you were angry and evil, and that you're working on yourself. I think only God can show you that. I can't say if you're
Listen, Nick,
I really don't know if you're. I can't see your heart, sir. I really can't. I'm just a person.
I'm asking you a genuine question. Do you think that I don't believe in God?
Again, like I said, I can't see your heart, but I'll tell you this. Anyone who's looking at others, worried about others, trying to figure out who's good and who's evil. No, I'm trying to answer your question quite sincerely. So please allow me.
But I want a yes or no. It's a yes or no question.
It's really not. I'm trying to. It is. Wait, what'd you say?
No. This is bullshit, Nick.
No. Calm down. Calm down, man. Don't swear. You're asking me if I know if you believe in God or not, and I'm telling you, there's no way for me to know that. But I'll tell you this. Anybody, huh? What?
You should be able to tell by the tone of my voice whether I believe in God or not.
Wow, really? I thought you didn't know who goes to heaven or hell. Now suddenly you know who goes to heaven or hell?
Did I just say to you that people who believe in God go to heaven or hell? No, I didn't
that's
say
not
that.
the same?
God, don't have like...
So wait, what's belief in God then?
Heaven or hell. I'm just saying that do you think from my voice whether I believe in God or not? Because I'm starting to wonder if you believe in God or not now.
This is so interesting. So what is belief in God then to you? Belief in God is just...
God.
Like a thought? It's just a thought? Like I read the Bible and I say, wow, God is so awesome. I believe in him.
I mean, Nick.
Is that what belief in God is to you? I'd like to know what you mean by that.
Right. Well, may I answer, please?
Of course. My apologies.
Apologies is not necessary when you're talking to Scotsmen. But what
I don't know
if
I was just, I sometimes blah, blah, blah over some people. So that's all that was. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm saying that human beings are not actually from Earth. We are actually from a place called heaven, which would be the garden. And we go back to the garden if we apologize to God for trying to make our own life work in the way that we want it to work, as opposed to the way that God wants it to work. That's my opinion when it comes to Christianity.
No. The question was, what is belief in God? You asked me, how can you wanted me to tell if you could believe in God by the tone of your voice, and it's confused me a little. I want to know what you mean by belief in God. Then.
Well, I will try and explain it a little bit better than I just did. I'll reframe it for you.
Thank you.
When people are lying, you can tell by the tone of their voice whether they're lying or not. You don't have to see their face. You don't have to say like their physical tells with their eyes and stuff like that. The tone of their voice will be enough to tell you whether they're lying or not. And that's what I meant by the tone of the voice.
I understand what you mean by that. There's something instinctual about lying, and you communicate with more than just words. So I understand that at a basic level. But you're talking about something much deeper. You're talking about true repentance, true belief in God. How can you tell that from just a simple tone of voice? Maybe you can instinctually tell someone's lying to you about if they did a job or if they really have your money or not. But that's as deep as that goes. It really still is only skin deep. All you're observing is reactions. Allow me finish. Eye flickering. All you're observing are simply things that are merely skin deep. You're taking that to a step further and thinking that you could see someone's heart. You're not God. Didn't you say yourself that you don't know if someone goes to heaven or hell? Now you may understand why I was saying that simply from your question about belief in God. Because to me, you're saying that you could tell if someone truly believes in God. Don't you see belief is more than just a thought? Don't you see that belief is more than just something you read and then later you tell yourself, I agree with that? Or do you disagree with that? Do you think that's all belief is?
No. There's a reason why I called you today, and it's to hear this message, because I actually do know what you just described, that my belief in God is actually quite shallow, and I want it to be deeper. So you make a great point there, and I accept your point. But what I'm saying is I can tell on the surface level if somebody's lying to me or not, but I guess I can't tell on the deeper level, which is more to do with belief in God.
Absolutely.
So you're right. Great point, and thank you.
And so to answer what you were saying, can you tell if you're lying about, how can I tell if you really believe in God? I truly can't. I really can't see your heart, Andrew. That's an honest response. But I will tell you this, almost as a warning even, or whatever. Take it however you want. But I've come to realize that I can't know someone's heart, but I'll tell you this, anybody looking at others, blaming others, worrying about if this person is good or bad, looking at anyone but themselves, anyone who has fear, anger, etc., blah, 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 those people don't believe in God. Before you say, hey, why are you talking about me? I don't know your heart. And if you got offended, maybe it's because it's true. That's not my business. I'm not here judging, I'm not here making a charge to anyone, but that is true. No. That is just true. Take that how you will. Don't get mad at me.
Okay.
Don't get mad at me. You're getting mad at the truth.
Hey, fair enough. I'm not mad at you at all.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I love this call. Thank you for that.
I'm not mad at you at all. I've watched you for a long time, man, and I can tell that you're a decent guy, so I'm not here to fall out with you. I just guess maybe you've hit the nail on the head, where my faith is actually shallow, but I need it to be deeper. And then when I finally truly believe in Jesus, then I won't have these problems. I won't have to call people up to try and get some advice, because you're a lot younger than me, and Scottish people, we don't like when a younger person tells us something we don't know.
I'm just passing it along, man. I've been so lucky in my life. And I'm just passing it along, man. I'm passing it along. And the truth is just that. You can't look at others. Don't you see the problem goes away? Now you don't have to convert your Muslim friends. Instead, they'll see the light in you, and just maybe the true conversion will happen. Don't you know you can't convert anybody? When you saw the truth about yourself or about anything we're talking about, Andrew, you had to really see that. Like, you see that, and no one could convince you otherwise. So that has to be the same for your Muslim friends. And the only pathway is backing off and being the light for real.
Right, fair dues. Right, can I leave you with one last statement, please?
Yes, please.
The last statement that I want to make is I have never fully understood what Christianity is. But one thing I do know is that telling the truth is probably the worst thing we can ever do. So maybe you're meant to just not talk to other people and stay quiet.
Telling the truth, you say?
Yeah, like when you recognize the truth and then you over-exemplify it by talking too much about the truth, I think that's when I need to wind my neck in and stay quiet. But it's hard for me to do because as soon as I know the truth, I want to shout it from the rooftop.
Totally. I so understand. But put it like this. It's like the phrase is tell the truth. And it's like, how can that be bad? It really isn't. But it has to be the truth. When you're going out there and trying to save people, you have now stopped telling the truth. The truth has to really change. It has to be true. Have you noticed when you go around telling it, when you go around saving people, they don't change? Ergo, it must not be true. So what you've now begun, you are now out there telling the lie again. So it's not that it's like you could tell the truth, but it has to be true. And the evidence is real in it happening in real life, and not just a thrill, not just a something you got excited about and tomorrow you drop and now you're back to the same old. And that's what happens when you go around preaching.
Fair
so
enough.
The evidence is right there. It is in fact the lie, not the truth.
Right, okay. So that means that I've bastardized the truth, and I accept that.
Right, so that means there's a pathway. That means that implies that there's a possibility of telling the truth. And I think you could, and I think, so whatever, man. I think we could keep working on ourselves. And we might be able to tell the truth even accidentally sometimes in life.
All right. Fair enough, Nick. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your show. I think I've learned enough today. I've got my pen right in my hand, and I've not wrote down when I've talked to you. So,
Andrew, call me again, man.
Aye, I will call you again, because you're an intelligent man and you seem level-headed, and I need help. So thank you.
Don't worry about that, man. That's why we got to talk too. These fellowships. Every Sunday I hear somebody, and I'm like, oh, whatever. I never think I'm gonna even. Sometimes I even have a thought, like, this is nothing. There's nothing for me today, and somebody has a problem, and I'm like the exact same as them. So that's why we got to talk, and fellowship, as they say.
Exactly, and the last thing I will say, this is the very last thing I'll say, is Jesse Lee Peterson changed my life because he changed me from hating my family to loving my family, and all his other little disciples like yourself, they are all addicted to the truth now. And I know that addiction is probably the wrong word for it, but once you get a little bit of the truth, it's like, what Jesse says, it's like you want to know all the truth.
Nice, man. Totally. I guess that's why he says, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it.
Yeah, I will, definitely. I've already given some money to your little program in Bond and that. So
right on, man. That every dollar helps. That's how we run things. That's because of you guys.
Thank you. Well, I'm in for a penny and I'm in for a pound, right? And I do believe in Jesus Christ. And thank you for your counsel when it comes to how to deal with Muslims, because I really don't know what I'm doing, to be honest.
Yeah, man. You're individuals, the people you meet, you should treat them all the same. And then there's a way to do things politically. There's sometimes people in places where they don't belong, but you got to do you got to still You'll be what we talked about, man, in this call, your individual life with these people. You're your own world. It's just you. The rest follows. Andrew, man, thank you so much for your call. Last thing you want to say before we move the wheels?
No, all I want to say is thank you and thanks to everybody from the Bond, the Bond organization, and they've changed my life. So thank you very much. So anybody
Same
who's
here.
listening,
Thanks,
we
Andrew.
advocate the Bond network.
Big time, Andrew. Y'all changed my life too. All right, man. Call me again.
Thank you. Bye.
888-775-3773. Yeah, listen to y'all mess. Has changed my life. Thank you so much, chat. Thank you so much, Snake Pit. I'm messing with you. It's a pleasure to have you all here. It's 888-775-3773. Let's do a little super chat action. Much appreciated. In fact, kicking it off, He Lazy says, the open world RPG I like has many pathways. Man, He Lazy, are you like me? I done traveled them all. And it's like a mess. It's like fork in the road. I took them all. I'm like a mutt. I'm like Terry Strange won't like this. She'll scoff. She'll laugh at this. But I'm like, I can't read and write. I can barely read and write. I'm barely monolingual. I'm like Diogenes. I'm a stray dog. I've taken every fork in the road. Look what I got to show for it. Hey, what's up, He Lazy? Appreciate the super chat. What are you playing? Path of Exile? No, that's skill trees. That's if you like skill trees. That's if you want to go nuts with your skill trees. And I mean nuts. Where are my autists in the chat? What's up, Ohio Sentinel? Appreciate this commentary over there on Rumble. Takia. I love taquillas. Delicious. Very cool. Believing a chair exists is belief that something exists doesn't mean belief in the thing that exists. Thank you, Ohio Sentinel. Believing a chair exists is one thing. Sitting in it and putting faith in its function is another. Ohio Sentinel also commenting on that call. Jesus was not a Muslim. This is kind of ridiculous, and I'm sure you could do better by education, both for Andrew and you. Yeah, maybe I was like, I may have come off a little obtuse, and I noticed that while I was talking to Andrew, and it's like, I may have been a little obtuse, because I know where you're getting at. It's like, sure, maybe even most Christians don't really follow the right laws and morals, but we can at least agree that the Muslims definitely don't, right? Because they don't even agree, they don't even follow Jesus. It's like, I get what you're getting at, but that's intellectual, in my opinion. And that be, yeah, you know, it's a little intellectual. There's a reason, though. I'd say there is a reason. There's probably a good reason why so many non-Christians act rather non-Christian. How do I put it? It's how people are. Automatons, they follow things. And so when you give them the Jesus program, which may not exactly get them saved, you know, let them see the true demon, the demon that's motivating their life, at the very least, you're going to get some pretty cool people. You know, there's no like Jesse says, I don't really see the other religions. I can at least personally confirm that the other religions definitely at least don't stress repentance and the evil of the heart the way the Christian worldview does and the Christian text. But it's text. It's mere text. You see where I'm nitpicking? There I go nitpicking. So there I go. So I'm done. I see calls 888-775-3773. We got Derek out of Nashville. How you doing, Derek, man? Thanks for your call. You're on the air.
Nick, all is well. Thanks for taking my call.
We're in the bunker, sir. I'm hearing you clear, I think, but it's okay. You're coming in now.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, all clear. All clear. Thanks.
Perfect. I missed the first part of your program. I saw on YouTube that you might be deported. Not to worry. I have a dear friend in Brampton. I think that's
Brampton, Ontario,
where you're from, right? Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Shout out Browntown.
That's what they call it, and she is Indian, by the way.
Shout out Indians.
But I said, whenever necessary, I will open up the Underground Railroad again to get you out of Canada.
Thank
So
you, sir.
if necessary, we'll get you back here.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask
Hopefully,
you about.
yeah. Appreciate that, man.
Hopefully
Appreciate
what?
it. Thanks for looking out. We got a broadcast. If it's not America, we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. You can't stay here forever, but but I'll get you out of Canada.
You see, I'm in a bunker right now, right? I don't know if you noticed, but I'm kind of hiding away. I'm in a bunker right now. I got the radio equipment right behind me. Little crack, got a little concrete window. Get some air.
Yeah.
But we are
I
hiding
see it
from
now.
ICE. I appreciate Trump. I think it's fine what he's doing. I'm a little scared. I was talking tough before. And I was like, whatever. Look, if they find me, I'll go with a smile, a tear, but a smile. But right now I'm in a bunker, man. But anyways, go ahead.
Just you and Richa. I'm getting out of Canada. But I wanted to comment about church on Sunday. It really, it was like a baseball bat to my face when Jesse asked, which glass of water are you going to drink? Is it the one with the poison or the one that's clean? And I was like, oh, I drink the poison one. And I just get a thrill out of the fact that instead of just chugging it down like I used to use the kind of story, it was like, I sip on it, but I still drink the whole glass by the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm just being honest. I do it. I get caught up in my thoughts and think about things I shouldn't. And, and when I do the silent prayer and since Sunday, it's like, no, I feel like, oh, I'm failing at this. It's not working. And I guess before, I came across Bond and everything, I wouldn't have even noticed it at all. But I don't know. What do you think about all that?
I was literally thinking the exact same thing, man. Just today, just yesterday, I was thinking just about this. And I was thinking very similar things. And it's so interesting to hear you talk. I just want to say, I just want to yell thanks to Bond and God. I've been there, man. This is why Jesse says, stay with it. Stay with it. I literally was presented a cup of poison, and I literally remember sipping this poison. I remember hearing Jesse say, don't even, and he didn't say maybe put the poison, but, don't believe thoughts. I've heard him for years. And I sit there like, I know I'm not supposed to, and I'm fighting it, but I'm sipping this poison. And when you sip the poison, you end up drinking the whole glass eventually. It's crazy. And I'll believe a thought, and I'm like, oh no, it's not true. It's not true. It's just a thought. But I'm back to it. I was presented with that cup of poison, and I didn't even take a sip. And I'm so thankful. And that's why Jesse says, stay with it, man. I literally relate to what you're saying. And yet at the same time, I'm in the exact same experience with other things in my life. It almost implies that we're still, both of us, worried about mere thoughts. And it should be I think a point of encouragement, if anything. And I think that's amazing.
Well, I guess where I've gotten caught up is, and I forget, don't quote me on quoting James, but he said something like you're good or you're evil. He said something at church that was really insightful. But Jesse always says too, you can drop it just like that if you really want it. And I go, well, I guess I'm just evil and I don't want it. And it almost makes you want to give up. And I won't, and I'm like, what, church was really good. And so I've been a little confused lately and just curious.
No, man, I keep hearing Jesse say, don't do that, but it's totally fine, man. Just stay with it, man. You're telling yourself, oh, but I guess for example, you just said, I guess that means I must be evil. I guess that just means I must want it. Try your best. It'll be difficult and you might just still do it, but it's no big. But seriously, just try your best to not say that to yourself. I guess that's just to make that further conclusion. I'm not saying it's not true, but I just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. You hear about dropping it. It makes so much sense to you. You may have even done it yourself. You've experienced it, and you're wondering, why can't I drop this? And then you conclude something. I must be this. That's making things just a little harder for you than it needs to be. But I'm expressing this simply from experience, like deep experience. I'm telling myself the exact same things. I guess I just must be evil. Not realizing I was making a further conclusion. I was on this path of understanding, but Satan is trying to knock you off. And he, boom, took me off by saying, well, then I guess it must mean, ergo, we're being little intellectuals, man. Oh, it must mean we're making things difficult for ourselves unnecessarily. And I just want to say, throw out some encouragement, because I was thinking I've been thinking the same exact things. And I feel like some of the cups of poison you're describing, I was presented recently, and I'm not even sipping them. And that's so funny that you put it in those words. I was thinking the exact same thing. It's like a cup of poison. And we hear Jesse in our heads tell us, but the thoughts, don't believe the thoughts. But we're sipping, man. We're totally sipping, like, get a little mad, believing those thoughts a little bit. Eventually, you won't even sip. Eventually, you will not even sip.
By the end of the day, I've still drank the whole glass, but before I would chug it, if you will, and not care, not notice, just go and be terrible. But when Jesse used that story, parable, whatever you call it, I was like, no, I'm still doing the same thing. I just do it differently and get a thrill out of thinking that I'm not chugging the glass of poison, and then when I pray, it's like, oh, all those demons in my head tell me, oh, you should just give up on this because you're failing, at all of it. And so,
wow,
it was, you know what I mean?
Satan wants your soul, man.
It's like rough, but
that means you're important.
On it.
But you're not important. But you might be enough of a wrench in his plans. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. So it's
vital.
It's real. Well, I don't know about that, but but I can.
Without any
what's
ego.
odd is I can see it. I can see it all now, which is like it's terrifying, all of it. But at any rate, I appreciate all the advice.
Yeah,
and,
I've thought the exact same things, Derek.
If they do deport you, just give me a holler. We'll get you out of Canada.
We'll find a way to we'll find a way to go live. All right, man.
Excellent.
Derek, call me again.
Of course. Bye-bye.
888-775-3773. We got super chats coming in. Very cool. In fact, he lazy. Back at it with another super chat says, and generous too, thank you, says, about the repentance of the heart. The more of a sinner you are, the more grace is afforded to you if you are willing to forgive. Maybe. He's wondering. He lazy. He wondering. The more of a sinner you are. Pardon. I hope a mic wasn't open in the background. Just belching. But the repentance of the heart, the more of a sinner you are, the more grace is afforded to you if you are willing to forgive. Man, I'm getting all intellectual about this. I don't know. What's grace? And what is what does little grace look like? What does a lot of grace look like? But I appreciate the super chat. If you're saying that even the craziest sins can be forgiven, that's deep. That's deep. That all it takes is forgiveness. That's deep. Thank you, Harmony Grits. We got a super chat from Harmony Grits. Says, amazing. She writes, can't wait for my punchy coffee with notes of caramel and cocoa. That's deep, Harmony Grits. I'm really appreciative that people are buying this. And at the beginning, Omid, if you know anything about Omid, PR guy, hard worker, smart. They talk about Anchor Baby's the genius. Omid is a very smart individual. And he's a mover and a shaker. And I was there with him at the beginning, working hard. We were there at the meetings, looking around, shopping around. It wasn't like some arse came to us and was like, hey, Jesse, let me sell coffee to your audience. We put the legwork. We found the artist. We found the vibe, the beans, tasted it, and we stressed that we wanted it to not just be crap coffee, that we wanted it to be competitive and like nice coffee. Through the work that we put we put in some work. We were so lucky to not only end up with good coffee, but specialty grade coffee at a price that we could give to everybody, that it could go to everybody. Oh, heck yeah. Send me a bag. Let's talk about it. This is Omid coming in. We were just so lucky that through the work because we set out to get at least good coffee, like good that you get at the store at least. And we ended up with specialty grade. If you know anything about coffee, they have these things. It's graded. This is no joke. You could get it ground. You could get a whole bean, rebuildingtheman.com/stores. And you could support Bond. And it's like you already drink coffee. Let's say you already drink coffee. We're putting our heads together. We're like, okay, we literally just run on donations. How can we do something? Can we give back? Can we offer something? And it's like simple. Just we start putting the work, one foot in front of the other, just like Jesse taught us. And just tried. And it's like if people drink coffee and they want to support Bond, bada bing. There you go. So I'm just happy it's happening. And I'm glad to see. Yo, you want to say something? Please. Come in and say it on the mic. You got to say it on the mic. And it's like, I care about this. I care that we put the work into this. And I really do hope people like it. Say it on the mic, sir. And you know what? Say it in Hake's mic right there. Over there. On that one. This is Omid, everybody.
Yo, guys. Stoked to bring you the coffee. I just wanted to throw one more point in that every bag is fresh roasted, small batch roasted to order. And that's literally as good as it gets. They're all vented. You can see the little vent right there on the bag. And the reason they do that, I'm going to nerd out because I'm on the Anchor Baby show, is because when you fresh roast coffee, it off-gasses CO2. So super fresh coffee will actually pop the bag. So you have to have vented bags. But it doesn't get any fresher. If you go and buy the best grocery store coffee you can, it's been sitting in a warehouse for 3 months, and then on a truck for 3 weeks, and then on the shelves for another couple of months. And by the time it gets to you, it's stale. So a lot of people don't actually know what fresh roasted amazing coffee tastes like. And there it is.
Heck yeah, Omid, man. Thank you for that. I'm just really happy that this is working out. So very cool, folks. Okay. Omid was in the bunker for a moment, but he will not be divulging the location of the bunker. He will be leaving using protocol and OPSEC and operational security, okay? Don't tell Omid. This is an undisclosed location, okay? We got a few more super chats, and I want to get back to calls. Birdie Bound Brian, man, thanks for the super chat. Says the best part of waking up is punchy in your cup. Next to the silent prayer, that is. Isn't that cute? Hey, look, we can have like Punchy's coffee on JLP show. We can like brew some, bring it in. We can have coffee together. You guys know how the Anchor Baby likes to set the vibes. You know, I like vibes. You know, vibe curation. I'm into it. So join us for a little Punchy's coffee in the morning on the JLP show. So okay, we'll get back to that, more info on all that. Let's move on. We got Kevin out of New York, caller on the air. Thanks for your call.
Oh, hey, Nick. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, no problem, Kevin. Thanks for your call.
Yeah, absolutely. Did I hear that right? You guys are starting to sell coffee?
Yes, sir. Punchy's Coffee.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
And we yeah, like it's our own child here, from the ground up, a Bond production.
Yeah. You know, and for the longest time, I used to not coffee and everything. I used to be a tea drinker, like hardcore, always tea every day, all day.
Oh, nice.
But coffee
tea
is the thing.
How many people drink tea? Shout out in the chat if you drink tea. You never know. You never know. We want to be your one-stop shop.
that might be the next thing you guys will have to sell, some tea.
Nice.
But coffee is just as good. It's just as great.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. That whole thing about the earlier call when you guys were talking about truth.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Man, I say that because I don't know if I'm getting this exactly right, but were you guys saying or debating about the origin of truth, where it comes from, and all that?
You know, I gotta say, that's not what I was doing. I was simply responding to Andrew. That's all I was doing. I was hearing Andrew out, and I was responding to him. And that's as deep as it goes. The truth, whatever truth was spoken, was besides that. All I had to do was hear Andrew out and respond to him. And if I knew, I knew. And if I didn't, I didn't know. And in Andrew's case, he was talking about how Muslims and Islam were able to create a problem in his life, in Andrew's individual life. And if you know, that's just not true. Doesn't make sense. And that's as far as it goes. I don't think I could go any further. I'd be lying if I were to tell you that that's what I was doing. I was debating the origin of truth. I have no clue. That's out of my purview. What do you think so far?
Oh, no, I was just about to say that I think that what you said was just you being honest, and that's just about it.
Yeah.
You know? But to get to it, I've read conversations between some of the most central figures in the Bible, Jesus and Pontius Pilate, when that whole trial was going on. Man, I'm tempted to start throwing sources out, but I won't do that. But anyway,
you're saying an extended text of Pontius Pilate exists? Is that not in the Bible?
I don't think what I'm about to say is in the Bible at all.
So you want to get at
it is extra biblical.
The point is, though, you simply want to speak on what?
Oh, just that subject of the truth, because between Jesus and Pontius Pilate, Pontius Pilate himself was asking Jesus the question, and even other people around. I think,
what is true? To make things easier, sorry to interject, my apologies, but you seem to want to follow any rules and all. It's very cool. Saying it's extra biblical, I think, is plenty. That at least tells us without saying any sources. It orders what you're saying, where you're getting this information from. So you're saying there, and now you're talking about what Pontius Pilate and Jesus spoke about.
Yes, that's right.
Go ahead.
That's as far as I'll go with it and everything. I just don't want people to think that I'm pulling this out of thin air.
Understood.
Okay. Well, Pontius Pilate is asking Jesus and even other people, well, where does truth come from? And I love Jesus' response to Pontius Pilate, and he puts it very simply. Jesus' response to Pontius Pilate was to simply say that truth is not from earth. It doesn't come from earth. It's not a tangible thing. No one can explain it. You know, it's not something you can play around with. It's untouchable. It doesn't even come from earth. Okay.
That sounds true.
that all. I kind of added in a whole bunch of stuff there, but Jesus continues on to say that to Pontius Pilate that you see that when there are some people who have access to truth, they are then condemned by those who are in authority. You know, it's so meaningful. Jesus' words are our life, and it's extremely meaningful to me because it's like that provokes a lot of thought too. Because like, if what Jesus says is true, and it obviously is, then if someone who has access to the truth is telling the truth, and they are then condemned by those who are in authority, imagine how regular people are going to treat you if you have access to that truth. You know what I'm saying?
I think I do, man. Yeah. It's like poetic. It is the description of sin itself, I guess. Playing God. Here they are judging the man who brought them the truth. You know, I understand these things abstractly. I feel like a lot of books, a lot of places, they have a lot of things written down that sound true, ring true, you know? The source of truth is not from us, from here. No, yeah. It rings true, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm absolutely convinced that God himself has a hand in our understanding. You know what I mean? I even remember a part where when Jesus, I don't know if this is before he ascended into heaven or not. I think it was. But he went on to tell his disciples, hey, you got to spread the gospel and you'll eventually be prosecuted for it. But while you're being prosecuted for spreading the gospel, don't think of what you're going to say to your prosecutor.
Interesting, man. You said God had... Oh, sorry. Please finish. My apologies.
Oh no. I just think... please tell me what you think of this, because I don't even know what I think of this, but I just think that Jesus felt it important to tell the disciples, and by extension telling us, that, hey, when you're being prosecuted, don't think of what your response is going to be. But it'll eventually come to you what to say. You know what I mean? In a sense, in my mind, that is allowing the truth to come over you. It's in a sense allowing the Holy Spirit to speak through you. You know what I mean? And
I
thereby
think so.
having access to that truth. You know what I mean?
Sort of.
It's
yeah,
really, really interesting.
I understand the words. You know, because in this story, it almost sounded like Jesus was telling Pontius this in this extra biblical story that that the truth is only coming through him. But it's like, but you're saying like that, you know, the truth can come through whoever God chooses. Anybody.
That's right. Yeah. I was really having
interesting. What did you mean by God has a hand in our understanding?
Oh yeah. I'm glad you brought that up too, because the reason why I believe that God has an understanding is because
that he has a hand in our understanding. Is what I heard you say.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, there's another part in the Bible where Jesus. I think this is important to point out. Jesus was giving different lessons, different revelations, visions, whatever you want to call it, to different disciples, having known each one of their hearts. Okay? And so through my research, I've come to understand that, and it would only be natural to assume that these very same disciples came together and was like, hey, Jesus taught me this, and it's different from what he told you. Let's share our information. Do you see where I'm going with this? And
so far you've described the disciples and their communications and so yeah. Is there more? Continue, because my question was oh yeah. Well, how does God have? What did you mean by God having a hand in our understanding?
Okay, this is my point. As there's different lessons given to Jesus to different disciples, and when they came together and tried to understand these lessons amongst each other, there would be times where, say, one disciple A, didn't understand the lesson given to him by Jesus. And then he goes on to ask, hey, Jesus, like, I didn't understand this lesson that you gave this other disciple. And so Jesus' response was, well, hey, if you didn't understand this, then it's not for you to have. The people who understand these things have already made a place for them in their heart.
Huh.
And so that's what I mean.
That clears it up a little bit for me, what you meant by that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's basically what I mean.
What else? So yeah, Jesus, God and understanding, truth, seemingly working through people, not the mind. Anything else you want to say on this?
After I say this, I just want to, I'll get off the phone. I want to hear what you have to say about all that. I was trying to, I kind of find it difficult to find the words of what I mean by this, but it seems like when people have access to the truth, it is literally from the absence of thought, to put it simply. And that's basically it.
I think you're right. I think essentially you're right. Put it like this. I don't think we have anything to do with it. Look, put it like this. Put it like this. How do I put it? Put it like this. Who has access to the truth? I? Who's I? Don't you realize I is merely a collection of memories? The only thing I can ever be is thoughts, ego, evil, worry, intellectual, judging. That's all I can ever amount up to. You understand? Whatever we call I, this collection of this I that we call, can only ever amount to lower thinking, never seeing the truth. So from that, you gotta maybe start to see how I can never know the truth. So whatever truth is happening, it's like by accident, or not by accident, but has nothing to do with me, or whatever this thing I call me. You understand? It's crazy, but it's true. You see in this? Whatever is me, whatever this thing you've been calling me and I, your whole life you've been calling it me. And you're like, this is me, this is I. Whatever that is can never amount to knowing the truth. And all it is a collection of memories. All it can ever be is these thoughts, anger, all that. So I can never know this truth. I can never know what sort, you know what I mean? I can never know, this I can never know, this I that you've been identifying with your whole life. This I that you call I in your memories, in your head, can never know whatever truth you're talking about. You can never know that I'm now in this state. I'm in the truth state. That's crazy. I can never know that. So maybe stay out of it and let the truth do what the truth do, because it has nothing to do with I. Stay out of it.
Very interesting. Oh man. I think you blew my mind
and only do the one thing God is asking you to do. Have love, repent, drop the anger, drop this I, and then let him do what he do. Stay out of it.
Yeah. I guess you know when people talk, you can kind of get a sense of, you can get a very small sense of what the condition of their heart is, because shoot, even the words that we use is a reflection of our hearts. Even though our hearts are inherently wicked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
But then even those people in the Bible, whether they were being persecuted or not, out there preaching by the command of Jesus himself, they wouldn't have even gone so far as to say that they themselves were the source of that. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's actually interesting.
You know? Yeah. So like we've talked about so many times on how these vices, these negative things that we call vices, are individual demonic spirits in themselves: hate, anger, jealousy, etc. Well, what do you think about this? Because I found a small. I heard Enoch talking about it, and it seemed almost poetic itself, in the sense in which Enoch was mentioning how there is a spirit of wisdom that comes from heaven, and he simply put it in a way that the spirit of wisdom could not find a dwelling place amongst mankind, and so it returned to heaven.
All right.
And that was
interesting, man. Well, right on, Kevin. Hey, appreciate your call. I gotta move the wheels here. Last thing you want to say?
Oh no, I think I've said enough. Thank you.
Right on, man. No, I appreciate the call, big time. Call me again. Definitely want to talk more. Right. Flesh it out. Talk to me again. Take care.
Definitely. Have a good one.
888-775-3773.
𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 with a super chat. Says, if we don't exist, then neither does Jesus. What are you talking about? Jesus, Santa, they all exist. So I don't know. Now you're talking crazy. Now you're talking crazy, Kale. But what do you think about that, folks? Self and knowing this truth. Kevin was talking about the truth and having this source of this truth. But throughout the whole thing is this implication that you would know this, that you would ever know this. And yet I've never seen someone who says they know the truth actually know the truth. You know what I mean? Like for real. You know, some people say that with awareness. That's different. But I've never seen that. Most of those people are blowhards. And so, yeah, that you would know this, that you would know this truth, that you would know when you're receiving this truth. You have to break that down. This you that does the knowing in that sentence doesn't know anything. It's never known anything. It gets confused. It listens to emotions. It goes up, it goes down, and it doesn't know the truth. And you think that this same you that you've been calling you and all that is suddenly going to know when it's receiving the truth? How about you stay out of it? Stay out of it and just do the little you were asked to do and deal with the hell within. Love all people, drop the anger. With the help of God. You know what I mean? Okay, let's keep it moving here. What else? Thank you for the super chat, 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒎. What do you guys think? I know the truth. So the truth is not knowable. Yeah, Reese's vid. I think that's kind of what I was getting at. In that, not know. I'll let you know when I really know what I'm talking about. How about that? But it's just like, think about all the things you say, all the other things you say you know. There's some things that you really know that you need that you really need very little words for. And there are other things that they're just words, they're just thoughts, they're just things you made up or things you heard. Knowable. I don't even know who I am anymore, says Zazen. That's an amazing thing, no? Who am I? At least you don't think you know who you are. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm Zazen. I'm a construction. I'm a lawyer. At least you don't think you know what you are. What a mess. That's amazing, Zazen. I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm an anchor baby, or I don't know. I'm a Colombian. I'm a Colombian mama. Watch me go to Colombia. And I'm like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And everybody's like, who the heck is this? Who the heck is this guy? Look at him showing papaya. Mostrando papaya, which is a Colombian thing, meaning to show that you're vulnerable, you're a mark, you're not from here. And they'll be robbing their Colombian brother. Imagine that. And and all because I listened to some thought tell me, that is your true people, or something stupid. Like a thought telling me who I am. It may tell me where I come from. It may order the different races of the world and keep them ordered and where they should be, and order their responsibility. Like, why are you trying to be president of this country over here? You got your own nation to worry about and be president of. I deserve to even be president of America. No, it's like, maybe you could prove you could be a good worker and a good guest, but I don't know. Things aren't looking so cool. And all these people, you're telling me all these people, because they just have a baby here, they hate America, they have they have a pathway to become the president? No, that's not what the founders meant. That's insane. There's no way that's what the founders meant. But yeah, what the heck was I talking about? He Black in the chat. What's up? What's up, Canada in the chat? Listens to Mi Gente every morning. Nick calls it maze. The dungeon is hilarious. Did you see I'm in the bunker, Kaya? Look what's happening, Kaya. And it's like, I was talking tough. Like, whatever must happen. It's like, I still believe that, but, you know, I'm survival instinct right now. And so I'm in the bunker. If ICE catches me, I'll go. I'll go with a smile and a tear. I've said this already, but it's true. But Kaya here, she's joining us. Kaya, what's nice to see you in the chat. And I'm in the bunker. What the hiding from ICE? We'll see. We'll see what we do here. You know what? Speaking of all that, I do have some stuff here for you. How about we get into this? Considering all this talk about immigration and Trump, you understand by now, he's already got a lot of things rolling. He's working hard already. People were like, oh, he said there were going to be ICE raids. Where are the ICE raids? Boom. Tom Homan is on the news saying the ICE raids have begun. I'll show that to you in a second. But basically, I guess I want to give you maybe a couple of updates and thoughts on some of the things we've talked about. What's going on with the tech right? The new inductees. The umbrella has grown larger, and now we have all these liberal tech guys who are brand new MAGA, America First people. You know what? It's who says it's like, hey, are you really MAGA? It's like barely anybody's really MAGA. Barely anybody's honest. But you know what? Even lip service is a good direction. And so right on, let's go. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy. He likes the nerd over the jock. He's missing something. Obviously, he got a lot wrong there. But he basically wants America to do their best. You got a lot wrong there, though. A lot of assumptions. So you have a bunch of sleepovers because you didn't learn violin growing up. Read his book, Nation of Victims. You're basically you're getting replaced because you did too many. You were having sleepovers instead of learning violin, and but whatever. Vake, right on. What's going on now? H-1B, legal immigration, and the tech right. What's the state of some of the things here? I'll let you know. You know, day one has been amazing. A laundry list of things that his voters and Trump has wanted, reinstating the things that were effective, like remain in Mexico, getting rid of the CBP One app right away. It was literally an app. You got to understand that this is what it was. Usually you cross illegally, you make the big old trek, and then you're like, base, I call base. They catch you and they're like, oh, well, because you're here, you shouldn't have done that. But we'll let you go, and then we'll talk about it in court at some time in the future. See you then. And now you're in America. Well, guess what? It's like what CBP One was a way of giving them advance notice you were about to do that. Suddenly you take something very, very and clearly illegal, and it's suddenly dressed up in paperwork and legality. It's so much so that the news was describing CBP One app when it became a thing during the debate with Kamala Harris. They were saying that Trump is against something that's totally legal, but it's like legal, like I just showed you, dubiously legal. It's like they're just giving you advance notice of a crime. So that's great. They're doing that right away. CBP One. What else about this? They're giving advance notice, basically. You know, there's all these refugee resettlement programs. They're getting totally halted. Afghans, Haitians. They're just stopping that until we know what in the hell is going on. Access for H-1B holders, their families, visa backlogs and delays. All of this will be slowed way, way down thanks to Trump revoking one of Biden's executive orders aimed at streamlining legal immigration. I mean, it sounds pretty interesting. It's going hardcore. It seems like it. I mean, they're weeping. They're weeping, gnashing in the streets. There'll be a gnashing in the morning in the streets. They say they're weeping in the streets. Migrants weep in Mexico as Trump admin cancels all of their appointments. We're talking about almost 1 million of a bunch of appointments canceled. Sorry, buddy. They got what else? They got something else interesting here. Let me pull it up. They got Tom Homan, who's going to be some sort of border czar. Forget exactly his position, but check it out.
Today,
you know, people were wondering, what happened to all that talk about the ICE raids? You know, Then I heard there was even some news that they were delayed for this or that reason. And people are asking, where are the ICE raids?
based on your initial schedule, that today roundups of criminal illegal aliens in the process of deporting them would begin. That seems to have been put on hold for a little while. When can we expect that to happen? Where will it begin?
No, it started.
It is started.
ICE teams are out there as of today.
As of today.
To prioritize.
That's why we're in the bunker.
Public safety threats that we're looking for. So we've been working up the target list. There was some discussion about Chicago because the specific operational plan was released. So we had to look at and reevaluate, does this raise officer safety concerns? And it does. But we've addressed that, and teams are out there effective today.
Based on your initial...
Amazing. So, yeah, there you go. Tom Homan. He's like, yeah, actually, they're out there today. They're out there right now. They're rounding them up. He didn't say that, but I'm waiting. We're pretty much waiting for the coverage. Will this be live streamed? Bill, are they live streaming the ICE raids? Where can I catch the ICE raids live? That's not normal? That's not a normal question for me to ask? You're saying that that's not likely to be happening? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so used to all this craziness being streamed. I guess it's not normal. The ICE raids, you know that if they get any footage and stuff like that, we're waiting for the coverage from the liberal media to make it this whole Gestapo thing coming after grabbing the migrants, the immigrants, the illegals, remember. There's all sorts of talk on Twitter. Some people are putting out this stuff saying, this is what you do. Bug out. They're giving them bug out plans and strategies. That's a little evil, okay? You're just keeping this fight going. Why keep that going? Why do you want to continue? For their own economic gain? What do you gain? Should you gain? Isn't that in the Bible? Should you gain the whole world but lose something important? I know I'm paraphrasing, but and that's what you want to do? You're like, but the poor migrants, the poor illegals, here's the plan. If ICE finds you, you got to bug out and do this and hide away. I would never do that. But look, whatever. It's just like you keeping this fight going for what? For their economic standing? That's silly. That's nothing. And what else about this? One last thing I think about this. Oh, yes. I can't help but maybe point this out. What I think is going to be a pretty interesting topic and point of a major point of how do I say this? I believe the following is going to be a central point of battle, of argument between the Democrats and the Republicans for the next 4 years. And it's about the worker, the American worker. You saw the mess, and you can go podcast that episode. It's a good one, where I laid out the whole thing with H-1B, what went nuts with Elon Musk on X, and the viral conversation regarding this, whether it's is it America first? And are these people, besides Trump, pushing for things that are quite not America first, foreign workers? You saw the Bernie Sanders and the liberals, the Democrats and the libertarians come out, and they said, and they flanked the Republicans on this and made a big noise about how this is not very America first. You saw Laura Loomer, who I wouldn't call a liberal, but you saw Laura Loomer and others come out in support of the American worker, and all these liberals support even conservatives. All these, I'm thinking of one Atlantic article that wrote about Laura Loomer, described her as a racist and wrong. She shouldn't be tweeting such things when she described her distaste of all these foreign workers. The liberals were agreeing with her stance, though, that it was very brave to stand up to billionaires and the oligarchs for the American worker. All this to say what? Mark my words, this is going to be a major point in the next 4 years. And it could be, honestly, it could be a walk in the park for Republicans, for Trump, I know Trump cares about the American worker, and I know he'd do it. It could be a walk in the park, but you know how it is with motivations and different agendas, money, etc. So it really could be, but we'll see what happens. 4 years. I think Trump will do the right thing, but I believe this will be a major point. And you saw it already with the H-1B and who is really backing the American worker. So an interesting 4 years, I'm sure. And I'm sure it'll be endlessly interesting. I mean, look at the guy we have in charge. Can I show you something? Where is it? The kind of guy, just the kind of guy. Let's see here. What else? I have so many. Let's pick one. He's talking about the drones in this one. You know those drones? It's like nobody told us what's going on. Just a bunch of drones in the sky. Could be foreign. They just told us, hey, don't worry. They're the size of buses up there. And, yeah, no information. But this is the kind of guy we have in the Oval Office.
But is it anything, these drones, is it anything that people need to be worried
No, I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of...
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay.
In fact, I'd like to do that right now, baby. Is that what he said?
Yeah, why don't we find out?
Why don't we find out?
I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was.
Trump doesn't necessarily know either. And you know what? I want to know. The people want to know. He says, hey, Susie. He turns to Susie Wiles right there. He's like, how about we find out? Let's do it. Let's do it right now.
They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting, right?
And with the events today, and
yeah, just telling you the type of guy we got there. Very cool. So it's got to be interesting, I'm sure. I'm sure it'll be interesting. All right. So what else here, folks? I mean, did we squeeze every drop out of that show? I think we squeezed every little drop out of that show. What's up, 706 over there on Rumble? I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for the support. Big time. About to consume 3,000 calories and mess up my sleep schedule. I'm wishing you luck and Godspeed on that mission, sir or ma'am. What else here? D-Live crew, punchy people. Thanks for the support. Thanks for everybody supporting the coffee in the chat. I'm seeing you guys talk about it. Seriously consider, it's been an interesting few years, I think, with COVID. A lot of people got into coffee and the ritual, maybe. I definitely suggest give it a shot. I got into, and I never was into coffee or anything, but I got into grinding the whole beans of this stuff. And we're brewing it on Sunday. And I just didn't know coffee could taste that fresh. I didn't know anything about specialty grade coffee. But consider it. Look, if you're someone that likes it, consider it. Get the whole bean, grind it up. The process, it's lovely. And you're supporting Bond. What can I say, folks? I'm out of here. Okay. We like this anchor, baby, right? We'll see what happens. We'll see if I'm still streaming in an undisclosed location tomorrow. But I'm streaming. Here I am streaming from. This is the American anchor, baby. An anchor, baby, with the heart of an American. No one can take that. Always here, working for y'all. Live from the bunker. We're ending this broadcast. Stay tuned for more. I'm out. Take care. See you tomorrow. And little Nick too. He's got to say bye. Bye.